saved message.
George. Kevin here. BBDSF. Saw Shape of Water. Pretty sure the shape of water is actually volume. Or it could be like a Squidnik polyethylene bag. But I digress. Pretty sure that the teenagers who were getting the first and second base during that movie are going to have issues they're going to speak to a psychologist about later in life regarding their sexuality. Anyhow, it was me, myself, and a pint of Ben & Jerry's. And it was one of the most romantic times I've ever had in my life. Love ya.
End of message. Delete. Press 7.
Busy daddies do sci-fi. Busy daddies do sci-fi. Busy daddies do sci-fi. Busy daddies do sci-fi.
You do
Fish
have
what?
Fish nothing.
Fish what?
Fish dildo.
Blah,
Blah 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 blah. Blah blah blah. That's the sound of being underwater.
Gotta learn to hold your breath, baby.
I was born underwater.
Hold it in. Breathe easy.
Breathe
easy.
Breathe hard.
Breathe hard. Not yet.
No.
Or
Save
you'll
it for the
drown.
end. Save it for the end. You got to know when to breathe hard. Because of the whole lot of training. The whole the horse whispering thing that you got. Do you remember there was a movie when I was a kid.
Horse whisperer?
No,
No.
not the horse whisperer, but it was about a woman who was part of a carnival act where she used to jump on top of a flying horse. And basically what the flying horse was, they put a horse like 50 feet in the air, and then they forced it to jump off of a platform into a pond.
Was this a documentary?
No, this is not a documentary. During one of these falls, the woman forgets to close her eyes and she goes blind. Okay, so her career as a horse jumper on her is over, but she trusts and loves the horse so much that they end up being able to communicate with each other without her having to see. So she can go about her career in one of the most cruel professions that ever existed. I don't remember what it was called.
That's a real beast tale.
It
A
is.
woman and a beast.
Woman and a beast.
I thought you were going to go into something Santa Sangre in a Jodorowsky reference.
No.
Have you ever? We've been to Santa Sangre in this podcast. Haven't we?
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
We've flirted with it. We never did an episode with.
Well, there's no reason to.
We haven't done a Jodorowsky.
Why would you?
Why not?
Did we do Jodorowsky's Dune?
No.
No. Why would we?
Because it doesn't exist.
It's sci-fi.
Yeah. Well, it's sci-fi, but
it's
it
a
doesn't.
documentary.
Yeah.
We're already losing listeners.
It became. I think this is actually gaining listeners right now.
This is our
It ended up becoming
Oscars
Aliens.
episode.
It's our Oscar episode. In that it was written.
You don't
by,
refer to the Oscars in plural?
No, I mean this episode specifically was written by Oscar, one of our other interns. So-
Oscar. What happened to him, man?
I don't know. He showed up for a week, and
He had one of those things. What's the thing you wear on your ankle?
the ankle bracelet. Like
Yeah.
it
he had
started
to report to his
beeping
PO that he
really
was here.
loudly, and then we never saw
Yeah.
him again. So here's looking at you, Oscar.
Yeah. Through prison bars.
More than likely, yeah. Yeah, he was a solid guy. He was really like Johnny on the spot with the coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was making a comeback.
Oscar?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Till whatever that was.
And it might have been the phone call I made after he wasn't so Johnny on the spot that one time with the coffee. If you're listening, Oscar, I'm not saying that I called your parole officer. Let's just leave it at that.
Or put 3 pounds of poppy seeds in that cup of tea you had, which made you have a dirty urinalysis. You know, it really begs the question, if you think...
Hold on.
Yeah.
You don't think he'd have spotted 3 pounds of poppy seeds?
Slowly.
in his tea?
Well,
Oh, you mean like over time?
It begs the question.
Yeah.
If you know poppy seeds are going to make you have a dirty urinalysis, do you eat poppy seed bagels, people?
Yeah.
Do you?
You might just want to avoid
you?
that completely.
Seems like you've tested dirty for heroin. I love poppy seed
I
bagels.
just love those poppy seed
And
bagels.
muffins. Did I mention poppy seed muffins?
And the muffins.
I love the hell out of those.
I also do enjoy heroin. So that is just, it's all part of the same basket.
Yeah, I read a great New Yorker article about that whole subject there.
Heroin?
That's how I know about it.
Or what?
Heroin and poppies and drug tests.
I thought we were talking more about the horses that jumped off of platforms into water again.
No.
Because that's
Pretty
a little
sure
bit more
that's
relevant.
a fever dream you
what
had.
We're talking. It very well could have been. I think I had mono when I watched it. But
back to that, dude. You and that mono thing. That's your excuse for everything.
I had it twice.
I bet you
I
did.
really didn't. I had
Same
it,
girl?
I had
Same
it.
girl?
Her name was mononucleosis.
Monica.
Monica nucleosis. I actually only had it once, and the other time I just convinced my mom that I needed to stay home from school for a month. So,
Did you really?
I did, yeah. I did not like going to school when I was a kid. I mean, what with all the movies about horses jumping into
I know.
water.
I gotta milk this subpar HBO thing. Where do you think can you find this movie this day? Like,
I'm willing.
Is it a Google search
away?
away?
I'm sure it's a Google search away. Yeah.
Like, is it like some 70s like thing where it actually is supposed to have spirit and like?
Yeah, it was contemporary.
Like would have worked on some
mid 80s. I want to say maybe it was Jodie Foster in the role.
I
but
bet
could
she
be totally
horse whispered.
wrong. Yeah.
Tell us how she would have whispered a horse, George. Tell us.
Sway in the wind, that horse. Chick-a-pay-pay, horse. Let's jump off this platform so you can earn our ticket back to Tennessee.
How did she go blind from the accident? Like a shock, or did she fall in gasoline? What happened?
You're the whole deal with this thing, and this is an actual thing that people used to do. There used to be flying horses, and what they do is they'd push a horse with a rider on it off a platform. But when you hit the water, you got to close your eyes. Otherwise, the rush will blind you from the water.
The splash of the horse's weight creates a pressure. It'd be like being shot in the eyes with a fire hose.
Just like that.
Yeah.
So basically, the horse at the last minute lets out this big neigh.
No!
almost to say, I don't want to be doing this.
Yeah.
She opens her eyes and full-on blindness.
Mm-hmm.
Ruined. Her career, her burgeoning career as a horse jumper on her after the horses pushed her off the cliff.
Does she just kind of follow the carnival around after that and make money however she can? Kind of. Is that they show that part?
That
was a Cinemax movie, wasn't it,
that
George?
was that.
Oh,
I might be
dude.
confusing it with The Accused by Jodie, which did have Jodie Foster in it. You don't remember that one? No. Sex scene on a pinball.
I was about to say she's accused of sex
No,
with carnies to make money because she's blind.
It's a really horrible rape sequence in the movie.
You know what? It's well, I can't say that thing about blindness.
No, let's not.
I was gonna, she goes blind and she helps others prevent blindness.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And we
by helping them walk around, she takes their cane and guides it.
If we thought maybe there was
through the
one group of people
darker alleys
of the world. Who are we? We are staying on the topic of beasts and water and women that love them.
Yes.
And that is amazing.
Which makes us
this is
bipedal deviants depicting slimy fin coitus.
Oh boy. The accused.
We lowered ourselves to that reference when
we didn't want to go there.
We didn't want to go there. No.
This is we're pretty highbrow most of the time.
But America loved that they went there.
They did. Mm-hmm. They did. So I mean, I'm George.
I'm Kevin.
And bipedal deviants depicting slimy fin coitus. You know who I loved in this movie?
What movie?
I loved Eugene Levy in this movie.
Yes, I know.
He was fantastic.
Are we talking about Cocoon?
No, we're not talking about Cocoon.
No.
He was almost...
We could talk about Cocoon.
We could.
That's a sci-fi
That's a fantastic movie, man. Steve Guttenberg.
No, it's a sci-fi movie.
Love story, science fiction story for the price of one.
Mm-hmm.
Cocoon. But we're not talking about Cocoon. No. We're talking about something much more personal, much deeper. Eugene Levy is only second in this film to the great John Candy.
Yes.
And of course, Tom Hanks gives the classic performance that Tom Hanks always gives. And we see this beautiful, breathtaking newcomer, Daryl Hannah, playing the lead role in this movie we're going to be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Splash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is more fantasy than sci-fi.
Because it's about a mermaid?
Yeah.
This movie's about a merman. So.
It's a merman.
What's the difference?
Oh, are you... Oh, I don't know. Listener probably already heard our Anubis Gates podcast, so are you... you know what, George? I think you have an issue. No. Even though you nod your head and go, yes, science fiction and fantasy have to share the same shelf, you got a problem with it.
Oh, I don't know.
You think
I'm just saying,
we shouldn't be in this business.
I'm fine if we're talking about... I mean, it's a...
Like, you said that like it was an indictment.
It's a half
like, you just write up. We don't need to say anymore.
It's fine. It's a merman. It's a merman. It doesn't matter if it's science fiction. He's got magical powers. Doesn't matter.
It's a god.
Okay. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which made it that was way cool.
You could call it that.
You could.
You could call it
You could call it The Shape of Things. Oscar nominated.
It's not what the movie is called, Kevin. For the last several weeks, you have been repeatedly talking about this movie called The Shape of Things.
It's the biopic of Foucault.
And I am getting incredibly confused because I saw a movie today called The Shape of Water.
Today?
I did.
God damn, dude.
I know.
Tony couldn't really pull off getting us tickets for the same movie.
He knocked on the door frantically with a reel of film stuffed in his jacket. And he just said, "Follow me." And I had nothing going on for the next 2 hours and 2 minutes. So I I followed him. We went into his van, and that's where I saw The Shape of Things.
With a husky LED work light.
Oh, boy. He proceeded to act it out via Light Bright and and some actually and he had
sealed the doors of the van, ran a garden hose
through
the window, and immersed you with.
He said, "This is where we're gonna do our underwater dance scene. Take your clothes off." The Shape of Water, and brought to us by Guillermo Del Toro. Guillermo Del Toro he's fantastic. He is a hell of a storyteller. Yeah. I really love his use of CG, computer-generated additions to practical effects. It's utilized again in this movie. You'd know Guillermo del Toro from Devil's Backbone. Pan's Labyrinth was sort of like his I Have Arrived one. Which
did he also do God's Coccyx?
You got... the Coccyx of God. What is... He did Hellboy. Are we talking about Hellboy? What are we talking about? God. He did... Oh, Hellboy 2. God's Coccyx.
Yeah.
No. Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. What is God's Coccyx?
You tell me, man.
I don't know. Anyway.
Sounds like Tony tried to show you in the van.
He did. It was beautiful.
There is no such thing as God's coccyx.
No.
So why? God doesn't have bones.
Well, he's cartilaginous.
Yeah. he is. Which makes him not an ichthy.
No, it makes him a nipthy.
Ichthy is the bony fishes.
Oh, okay.
Cartilaginous fishes, the skates and rays and the sharks.
The sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's as much as I got.
So this fish man doesn't have a backbone. You could say he's spineless, basically.
Well, I mean, not so much.
Well,
not in the clinch.
A little bit of a coward.
Would you say?
Sure.
I don't think you can say that. We're really, really gone now.
If you keep saying that, we are.
Listener, we're going to spoil this movie.
Of course.
You know that from all the "why'd you spoil that" emails we keep getting. that is the nature of a podcast.
Okay.
Podcast.
Yeah. Oh, so
is that how the kids are saying?
No, so Guillermo Del Toro.
Guillermo Del Toro.
We appreciate your work, Mr. Del Toro.
That was a large veiled response to whatever you were trying to do with the talking about CGI thing.
Oh, okay.
That's how we lose listeners.
It's not.
The CGI. Will you pass the seltzer, please?
Certainly.
Thank you.
A lot of people actually appreciate that type of information. That Guillermo Del Toro, known for his practical effects, known for working with a lot of the same actors. We see Doug Jones again
Dougie.
in this movie. Doug Jones is anybody who knows anything about science fiction will recognize him from playing Abe Sapien in Hellboy. Again, all of Del Toro's roles. He played almost all the monsters in Pan's Labyrinth. He was did the motion capture for the Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four. He's a mime actor who was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. All these,
There's a mime joke in there, but I'm not quick enough right now.
It's always a mime joke.
Abe Sapien is the Fishman buddy to Hellboy.
Yeah.
So when I saw the trailer for Shape of Water for the first time, I thought this was a Hellboy fork in the road.
Ah, yeah. No.
But no.
No, it's just Guillermo Del Toro had to make a movie about a fish man that you might want to masturbate to. And that's not that
Where
I
are
would.
you getting the masturbate data?
Well,
is that public knowledge?
Other than
Is it unlawful carnal knowledge? Is what it is.
Other than the lead female in this movie having a
No, I thought there was a phenomenon.
Well,
happening.
I'm sure there is, man.
At this point,
it doesn't take much for a good sect of millennial population to turn generally anything into a sexual fetish. Rule 34. Rule 34.
Don't know what that
Rule
is.
34 is an internet rule in which everything can be turned into porn.
Okay. The hardest thing we're going to do tonight is try not to take the sex scene, which who cares? America cares apparently, and not parlay it into the humor we are accustomed to around here.
It was benign. It didn't even register.
Yeah. It made total sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't weird.
No.
Those people wanted to be together.
Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah. I'm not a racist, so that made sense to me.
There were a lot of racists in this movie, though.
There were racists in these movies who would not have had sex with that thing.
Jerks. It takes place in, we hear the Cuban
1962.
Yeah, 62. We hear the beginning of the Cuban Missile Crisis at a couple different points.
In a slimy Baltimore.
Yeah, it felt
Moist.
the beginning. Okay, the Prince. That makes sense. Kennedy. The beginning narration is towards the end of A Reign of a Great Prince, and I was kind of like, who are they talking about there? Because I thought initially they were trying to set the atmosphere as being kind of timeless and settingless.
Prince is from Minneapolis, not Baltimore.
But the Prince is John F. Kennedy. Towards the end of his reign. So he dies in 63.
Spoiler alert.
I know. Sorry, guys. Just in case you didn't know. Should have ducked Kennedy.
Not
we are immediately introduced to an interesting young lady named Eliza.
Amelie.
Yeah, might as well be. same shit.
Okay.
Amelie lives in Baltimore and she works a night job.
Amelie was from Paris.
Amelie is from Paris, yeah. Yeah, Eliza, or basically take any template of quirky,
she's better than that.
Vaguely attractive. No, she's not. She's a caricature. At this point, she's a caricature.
You mean at this point in your narrative of the movie?
I mean in this point in these types of movies, this type of storytelling, trying to avoid becoming a trope has become a trope. And that's one of the things.
What?
Trying to create something new, you can fall into the same trappings. And I felt like this movie did.
That's bleak, man.
It's kind of true.
Look,
there was nothing new.
That's enough to almost make me stop screenplay writing at the coffee store and getting serious about bussing tables.
I didn't think there was anything incredibly new in this movie. And that's kind of where
it didn't need to be. So, but what's that word you wrote at the top of the notes here? Eh?
Yeah.
Eh.
Yeah.
George, you see it today and you go, eh.
I see
Say
it
more
today
about
and I
that.
go, eh. No surprises. Knew how it was going to end. Knew it was going to end with her being revived and her scars turning into gills. Like,
when did you know that?
Basically when they kept pointing out her scars. Well, after Michael Shannon tosses, I knew it would end with her somehow swimming away with him. It was just telegraphed. It wasn't. It was just like kind of an intuitive, like, all right, that's where this is gonna go. And every beat along the way just seemed kind of like, all right, Michael Shannon is playing this guy. He's the balls to the wall. He's playing him really well. He's the balls to the wall. He just knows. He just knows when to look at a security camera a certain way. He just knows that this doctor is up to no good. No evidence or anything. He just knows, and he's not gonna stop, and nothing's gonna keep him from getting what. It's just he was playing, a typical character in these types of movies. Like he's playing the monster. The cool thing,
Strickland's the monster.
Yeah, I know.
No,
amazing, right? And the cool thing is, you wrote on our thing is we get an identity prism.
An identity prism.
Yeah, and that is one of the redeeming factors for me of this movie is that we are treated to a character. You know what? Let's step back. You want to set the world up?
Treated to okay. Well, I mean, guys, you know it. I know most hardcore listeners are going to listen to this podcast on Oscars night and plug us in while the commercials are going.
So
we're waiting to see who wins.
More like side by side. We'd be doing play by play of the Oscars. Most people prefer us to.
Are we going to do the live Oscar play by play?
No, I'm saying like, well, we can't. We're going to be there this year.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Terry Gross got us in. Damn.
We're up for an Academy
good.
Award.
Yep.
Best hair.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're actually going to tell the story. So, yes.
I didn't say set up the world.
The mute girl works at a lab. In the lab, the asset shows up. It is a fish man, and we need to vivisect it. It's probably going to help us in the space race because the Russians want to go to space too. The woman shares a lunch with this creature, and they fall in love. Meanwhile, there is a Russian spy who is the lead scientist on this team who is asked to go figure out this creature and use it for the space race. Strickland is a tough hard ass who prods the fish man with a cattle prod. He's brutally violent. He gets his 2 fingers bitten off by this creature, and he's hell-bent. I really liked that character. I loved how he chewed mints. And I think something about the tropiness you're speaking of, or trying not to be tropey, just shuttled along for me on this one. It was smooth.
Brilliantly by Michael Shannon. Like, that's the thing that kind of keeps saving this, what could be kind of like a trope upon tropes without being tropes. Like, that was one of the things I wrote in the outline. It's the thing that keeps on saving this from being, I think, a mediocre movie is, like, Michael Shannon does extra things with what could be a pretty bad character. Like, even the little nuances, like, him, towards the end, I fell in love with Strickland. Initially, I liked him. Then I got bored of him. And then towards the end, when he's on his rampage and he's talking about the candy and how he loved it since he was a kid, and sometimes when he's anxious, he
and his
bites
fingers
right into
rotting,
it, and his
that
fingers
was
slowly
great,
turning
man.
black, are also just a it's sort of a tell of this guy is losing all sense of control. He is reading The Power of Positive Thinking and getting phone calls from his general and saying, I got to stay in a positive frame of mind here. So he's doing things that, like, this character...
And his general's like, you're going to disappear if you do not figure this out. Because the asset is set free by the mute through help of the double agent and the mute's friend, another custodian there, and the mute's neighbor, another identity prism, which is a down on his luck illustrator who's gay, and has a crush on the pie salesman. So
who's a bad man? That pie salesman. He's a bad man.
Bad man.
Bad man.
Well, there's other bad men.
There's lots of bad men.
It was a time when men could be bad.
Yeah,
They're different bad now.
You drank your coffee, you ate your cigarettes, and you went about your business.
Yeah. And you snorted your pie.
I do love the moment when
That's called an Irish tequila shot.
He opens up his fridge and he's got tons of key lime pie, meaning he goes back to this little restaurant and buys a slice of pie so we can talk to the pie shop owner.
What I thought, when I said identity prism, I just kind of thought when you kind of hold your eyes up to a crystal prism and it kind of splinters and refracts, and what I didn't really care about but was pretty obvious, I think George is using the word trope, but we have a mute who's less than human, the asset who's inhuman, Strickland is a bigot, Zelda is the black custodian friend. Giles is the gay man. Stahlberg or whatever is the spy having a double life. And we just have this pouring on of like who's bad, who's conflicted, what do you know about your stereotypes. And that I just didn't care about, but it was bright to me.
It never ascended for me past like a certain level.
But so that's why I called it a prism. You don't look at a prism and go, prism, I judge you to be less than other prisms. It's just a prism. And I feel like that's what this was. It was just a place that made you do the math, let's say, about identity. And so what?
Yeah.
So what? Maybe I'm just a choir. I sat alone and ate my favorite pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream and enjoyed this movie. It is a good movie. It's
good. It's not great. It's true.
Yes.
It's not great. It's not brilliant.
Why?
It's not. Well, because these things, these levels of quality do exist for me. You know, I will not see this movie again. You know, and there are many movies that I have seen repeatedly.
Does great bring you back? But you've seen not great movies repeatedly, so I don't think your standard is really sound.
Well, it's just not.
Stable.
I don't have to. It's a personal taste. It's subjective, man.
What's more interesting is why the hell are we talking about whether it's great or good? I'm just saying I thought it was a good movie. There are good movies, there are bad movies, there are great movies. I don't really care.
Yeah.
It did something to some people. And maybe since I'd watched Amelie and Delicatessen and City of Lost Children, I was already into this cute freak place. It reminded me a lot of Wes Anderson films, which are cute and delightful and wonderful, and they do things, and they're a great ride. But I was primed to have this movie work on me, and I think like people who were in the Academy know the things I just listed,
which is why I'm sort of like I don't get it. I don't really get why.
But except it was just kind of more likable. In a Wes Anderson way. I think all the sets, the way the whole movie was green, it was just lush.
And, the opening scene when we see her apartment, I am treated to like a really cool, different design of, you know, she's got the sloping roof that comes down and the frost outside her window, and there's unique elements to it, but the sum of its parts was just like I was a little let down with it. I was just sort of like it ended with that poem, and my initial reaction was okay, and that was it. You know, it wasn't like wow, it wasn't like there were certainly parts of it where I was like, that's adorable, that's delightful, that's insightful. You know, when she says to him, when he says it's not even human, and she says if we don't help him, then neither are we. I go, all right, that's fucking good.
See, that was hackneyed. That was who cares? I mean,
I thought that was beautiful.
I should.
I thought him.
So
eating.
What? That's, you know what that is? That's the fucking card that's like sitting on your fucking coworker's desk.
So maybe it's possible.
Thank you.
Maybe it's possible that liking a movie is entirely subjective.
I can't believe it would be.
Oh no.
I can't believe that liking a movie would be entirely subjective.
Yeah, and that you can look at something and go, this did something extra for me, and I can look at it and go, it was good. It did not do something extra.
Listener, we've been down this road before.
Of course we have.
This is where George tries to settle for being an individual or whatever. What's the point?
Well, the difference occurs when we're on the opposite ends of the coin, and I do like something that you then don't like. And you were seemingly much more willing to take the, it is what it is, so let's just move on stance when it's something that you enjoy, as opposed to, and I think that the data of these podcasts would certainly indicate that.
As opposed to, like, I stand on a soapbox about Bright.
You stand
and
on
you
a
go,
soapbox
yeah, I
about
like
Bright,
it.
and I go, yeah, I like
listener,
it.
first of all,
Oh,
I'm fully convinced.
Hold on.
No, wait, listen to me. Listen to me. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
George
Man,
talking.
He's full of it.
This movie was a lot better than Bright.
No.
Okay?
Yeah, no, hey.
I will say that.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Totally. Yeah.
It was
great.
craftsmanship compared to Bright.
Craftsmanship.
Yeah.
Craftsmanship.
Beautiful.
Like a custom-made mustache wax?
Like a mahogany box that
like
you
a
might
handmade...
keep... Like you might keep cigars in, or a plastic fish dildo,
or a wand,
Yeah, if you get it, yeah.
Or a wand.
Yeah. What were they called again?
An aura wand. It wasn't an aura wand. That would be a wand for auras.
What were they called? The people that they were called Brights,
weren't they? Hey,
that's the lasting power of that movie, right there. So
science fiction fans, you're here. You've stuck with us. What happens now? There's a monster. Scientists study it. Is it science fiction? I don't really care.
Yeah,
I mean by the Prometheus, by the Golem, by the Frankenstein model, it's sci-fi. But it's a monster movie. You all have read on your Facebook pages that this was Guillermo Del Toro's love letter to Creature from the Black Lagoon or whatever the hell it was. That's lame. Who cares?
I wish they had done a little more with Doug Jones in that suit. Like, one thing, that there's one scene where she fills up her entire bathroom with water, and they're kind of dancing together. And then there's a scene at the end. But other than that, it's like we see dancing. Other than that,
God's coccyx.
We see very little of his movement. There's the great musical number where we actually get to see,
which was cool.
I love that. That did elevate this to a new place for me. But I wish we had gotten to see more of him actually moving, because there's a lot of scenes in it where it does just look like a dude in a rubber suit. So I felt like full figure, you see Doug Jones is so good at like just moving like a freaking a mime, or like he's a cartoon character, that I felt like if you saw more full figured stuff, like it would have gone better. There were too many like close ups. I felt like it wasn't utilized enough.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you thought that. I don't know. I can't picture Doug Jones. So I don't feel him underused. I do. It does remind me though, like I was intrigued by. They say he's a god from where he's from, to proof that he was a god when Giles is cut, and when he's touched on his cut, it heals, and when he's touched on his balding head, it grows back.
Yeah, I thought that was hackneyed. I thought that was like. When he shoots him, when Strickland shoots him at the end, and Strickland's last words are, "Oh shit, you are a god," and then he cuts his throat. I thought that was so lame, like a lame way to get to that point, like rather than just deliver it with like, that kind of took me out of it.
Yeah. What what you just said took me out of this.
Oh, yeah. Everybody, Kevin's going to take his ball and go home and fill his bathroom with water.
And algae pucks.
And
salt.
That was, it was a steamy, slimy environment, kind of contrasted by a crisp, clean environment, like her apartment. I love that she lived above a movie theater. the design of the theater was really, really cool. I love that he was in Giles, her neighbor, was an ad agency painter. It was just like almost for a second there, I was trying to figure out if he was historical, like if they were. I was like, oh, who is he? You know, there was cool stuff happening in this movie.
But the sum doesn't equal its parts.
I liked it. I didn't. You know, like I said, it's not gonna hold a spot in my library. You know, it's.
I mean, I don't think much does for me. I mean, that's
for me it does. That's the thing.
It shows that you've got a library, so to speak. I sit here and just go like, I mean, it passed through,
like a turd. Passed through.
You know,
he kind of looked like a turd. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're being a turd in the punch bowl tonight, buddy. Yeah.
That'll ruin anything, man. That's not cool. You don't want to. No turd in the punch bowl. Everybody, if you're having a party, don't put a turd in the punch bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Del Toro once again. I had not heard that it's his love letter to Creature from the Black Lagoon. That makes sense, and I like that. I mean,
pretty sure I heard you say that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was some of your best work.
Well, you know, sometimes God just speaks through me.
I know. Right through
me. But that makes sense, and it does add a little bit more like coolness to it because Guillermo Del Toro does like his monsters. Pan's Labyrinth, the designs in those were really, really cool, and it's cool to see just him still doing different stuff. You know, him not falling in line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess I got no like I know I've seen all those movies. They don't line up to me like that. I'm not like, oh, he's not falling in line. I mean, he's just doing. I don't know. I'm hanging up on like you mentioned living over the movie theater, and that's the Amelie zone. That's the cute thing, or like what makes why is when that woman who wants love finds love, and that when we know she's living alone, she lives above a quiet, empty theater, which still has to have the movies playing for whoever might go in and see that movie
constantly.
Why is that? Is that a trope?
It's
why does that make so much sense? That it would be that way for Eliza.
It's kind of like a, you know, at this point these things, you know, there's this idea that you can just what do we need? We need a quirky lead character. All right, what's her deal? All right, so she's mute. All right, great. So
I thought she's mute because she's actually part of the fish god species. Who is humanized. Remember, she's found in a flood as an infant.
Yeah.
And I thought that maybe because she's her gills aren't exposed, she can't speak because she never knew that she was supposed to be a river person, so to speak, a fish person.
Yeah.
So my mind is like explaining to myself why she can't speak once I get the punchline.
Which then brings the whole connection, like why she then feels connected to this.
Right.
Yeah.
And because she's got human altruism into her, even though she's a hybrid, before she really realizes that she is maybe one of a kind with this person, she is acting like we talked about earlier, for the betterment, because we're all animals if we don't stand up for this guy.
I didn't walk away with that. That's the first time I'm actually thinking that was the case, because
she had the scars on her neck all her life. I think they were failed gill growths.
Yeah. I mean, I just believe that when he kissed her, he transformed her. into this.
And he's like, wow, if I make out with you, how convenient it's going to be to turn those fucking
nice.
scars into gills.
Because
I really lucked out with you.
If he's a god, I mean, then he.
But they lit up.
Whole,
they.
Yeah, but that's just me. I mean, that's like the connection I made. I love that. Like that makes a lot more sense. That she would have been if they found her in a river and she didn't speak from when she was born, and there's like an ambiguous thing about. That's their scars or why she doesn't talk. And
I love that there's a culture in 62 still worshiping a living God that before it was poached by the CIA out of its homeland, there are people going, what happened to the God?
Yeah, like
what did you do to my God?
Where's God, dude? Oh, we put him in a boat and we're bringing him.
And he gets just stolen. Like King Kong, right? From his people.
Yeah, that's cool. And what is that in and of itself? Sort of a. I mean, because you could go large with these things and say, okay, well, at that point in America, we had pretty much shrunk God. There's something about it being on the cusp of the Cuban Missile Crisis. We're at a point where humanity is pretty much about to destroy one another, and we are going into another part of the world, and we are stealing God.
That reminded me when you mentioned the facts of the Cuban Missile Crisis that is it possible that this movie carries so much weight in the academies and in popular approval because Mad Men blazed such a hardcore trail in this pocket? In this time zone, because I certainly felt the Madman thing in this whole thing, and rightly so. But the same period pieces were pressed in the same way for me. And do you think that the American psyche is, again, primed, a word I already used in regard to my experience, to be like, yeah.
You think there's just a love affair with that nostalgia?
Well, I mean, we yes.
Yeah.
Well, but no, specifically, Mad Men is badass, pretty much understood as.
Yeah.
And we loved that 60s spot. We loved how real events were coming up, like Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis, and how, at least I did. I remember watching Mad Men and going, it's so cool how these things are coming in.
There's something immediately much more appealing about seeing Michael Shannon in a 1960s suit and haircut than it is any other
role. But like it's almost like if Michael Shannon could have heard the Beatles, like he would have let that dude go.
He'd like just.
But I mean, serious.
Yeah, no, that'd have been a great.
Like he has like a Homer Simpson acid trip,
full-on moment, and he just changes, and he's just like, oh my gosh, man. Living is easy with eyes closed. Misunderstanding all I see. You may go, fish man. Yeah. You may go. But first, take these 2 bullets in the chest. I don't know why I did this, but I was like, he gets his throat slit, and my immediate reaction was, oh man, his wife and kids are fucked. I didn't.
Well, because she, unlike Mad Men, she was kind of into him. Like, she kind of bought the package on the whole thing, too. But then that weird sex scene he had, and which is the first time I'm thinking about it, regarding...
I mean, he was like, at no point did
beast sex was much... I'd rather be in the beast sex than with that dude plugging away, building a shelf.
Jesus.
Shut up and... whatever that...
Jesus. Honey, your fingers are bleeding. Yeah, I know.
They sort of smell.
They'll be dead soon.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So we're left with The Shape of Water, and it's an Academy Awards darling this year. And we'll see what happens with that. But more than likely, we're gonna have a couple of Academy Awards for this beauty. And And like, you know, I'm grateful that we have these conversations because I could have very easily just like compartmentalized this movie and gone like, yeah, it did this, and this to me. And anytime we get to do this, you know, again, like, it didn't light me up. That's it. It didn't light me up the way it lights me up.
But that's what I'm here for. To
know,
show you the places
to
where
light me
you
up.
can light up. Yeah. Here comes the sun.
With all that,
George.
With all that, though,
it's all right.
It still didn't light me up. You know, it's still sort of like, you know, okay.
And this is a personal. You need to listen to the Beatles, buddy.
I love the Beatles, man. I listen to the Beatles a lot.
Don't even. That's not my point.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you need to listen. You know what? You might be listening to the Beatles, but are you hearing the Beatles?
Yeah, that's it. Not hearing them.
Because you got this edge, man. It's like for some reason you come in here and you gotta do some stuff.
I don't.
And I'm interested that you pointed out how like if I like it and you don't like it, we kind of have this thing. But
it's true though.
But I mean, I think that's a pretty good duality.
Yeah. I just think there's things that I like and things that I don't, and I'm cool with that, you know, and that's it. I mean, that's really all that it is, right? And
that we've done this before. That is your bright argument. That's your bright argument.
It's not an argument. It's just the truth. Though.
But it means why are you in the realm that we're in right now? And I guess it's to be enlightened. Yeah.
Yeah, or unenlightened.
As
would be the case sometimes. I guess.
Well, it's bright.
Yeah.
Or it's murky.
Yeah, and then in between is the spectrum of
the prism
experience, the prism, you know,
prism,
right?
Yeah,
you know, but
Identity Prism. That is my performance art piece, by the way.
Coming to a theater near you.
Yes, I stand on a chair and urinate myself blindfolded.
It's Kevin standing in a bathtub. Wearing camouflage, wearing a ghillie suit.
What's a ghillie suit?
It's one of those like full camouflage where they're wearing like bushes and stuff.
Like Red Dawn? Yeah. Red Dawn camouflage?
Like Red Dawn, like where you pop up and you go, Wolverines! Then you blow the helicopter up. And then Patrick Swayze gives you a high five. He's dead now. Patrick Swayze.
What do you gotta do that for?
What? Did I bring you down?
Yeah, man.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
I liked Red Dawn a lot. I remember seeing it in the movie theater.
I did too.
They had those then.
I liked Red Dawn a whole lot. There's a dead teacher, or no, there's a dead kid in one of the windows that freaked me out in the beginning when they're parachuting.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a couple of those things in movies from when I was a kid that like I will never forget. I will never forget like the shot of the dead kid in the window.
The Jaws had some ones like that for me, but I was at Universal recently, and Beetlejuice is one of the characters running around in there, and I was like, oh man, I'd like to show the boy Beetlejuice, and then I looked it up, and it was like, no, there's like the waiting room scene where there's like people cut in half and axes, and I was like, damn it, we'll have to wait. You know, I just don't really want to give him that. Even funny violence, it's still like a realistic axe in the head.
Yeah.
Or whatever, I forget what those things are.
Yeah, no, that's a tough one. I think I was like 10 or 11 when I saw Beetlejuice, though. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is another monster movie.
Yeah,
made by a pretty well-known director.
Yeah, who started out brilliant and then got shitty.
Well, what's the Guillermo Del Toro movie where the bomb is in the middle of the orphanage? That one
is that really The Orphanage?
Rad. No.
Okay, I don't know that one.
No. Listener, you can email us at BusyDadsDoSci-Fi.
Did he make The Relic? Because that was kind of crappy.
I don't know offhand.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, you can you hit us up at busydadsdosci-fi@gmail.com, or you can drop us a follow at Instagram, where the
dropping a follow.
Is that how that goes? Man.
Hey, telegraph us a wink.
Do me a favor and do a Twitter push up at Busy Dads. I don't know what the kids are saying these days.
You don't know.
Telegraph us a wink, Kevin.
Telegraph. That's classic BDDSF right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what that is. It's one of the staples. So did you like this movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you?
I liked it.
Good.
Yeah.
So we agree.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Bipedal deviance depicting slimy fin coitus.
Ugh, boy.
Slimy fin coitus, by the way, is my stage name.
Yeah, but when you're doing the
performance art,
yeah. Identity Prism, starring slimy fin coitus.
Yeah, and Wes Anderson.
He'll come out, and Wes Anderson, he's directing it actually.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the game, man. All right, well, good night, nurse.
Good night, nurse.